I am Matthew Shack, and you're listening to The Flow Sports Radio Show. Last night, I had to really take some time to think about today's show. Community activists, let me correct myself. One of the greatest men who have ever lived passed away last night at the age of 74. That would be Muhammad Ali, the original greatest of all time. The reason why I corrected myself when I said community activist is because I know damn well he was more than a community activist. Let me tell you something as an audience. The word GOAT, which is an acronym for greatest of all time, and the greatest ever, and the best player ever, and the TBE, and all that, which is another acronym for the best ever, Floyd Mayweather uses. That term gets thrown around so much that I really don't think that people really actually know the definition of the greatest. Let me give you my definition of the greatest. The greatest is a person that transcends what they are known for. Let me repeat myself. The greatest of anything is a person who transcends what they do, their impact past what they do, not just what they do. And that needs to really be said in the case of Muhammad Ali. Now, you're not going to find anybody that is as big as a Floyd Mayweather supporter than I am. I love Floyd. He is one of the greatest. He's probably pound for pound the greatest in his weight class. But let's keep it 100. Floyd, you are not the greatest of all time. And to say you are the greatest of all time is laughable. Even though I respect you and I support you, everything you've done inside of the ring. Muhammad Ali was the greatest because he went beyond boxing. Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time because he went beyond basketball. You can argue that Kobe might have had a better skill set than Mike, but he did not transcend basketball the way Michael Jordan did. So that is the definition I am going to use, and I have been using, and especially in light of the passing of the champ. I am very happy to say, in regards to the champ, that I am fortunate to have met the champ when I was 9 years old at the first annual Muhammad Ali track meet in Fresno, California in 1977. And I was 9 years old. Not only did I get to meet the man, he shook my hand, he gave me an autograph, and gave me a hug. He was the first sports personality that I ever knew. My parents and their friends would have parties, fight parties, or they called them back in the 70s, get-togethers, and watch his fights on Wild Water Sports. So I saw all those great fights, Thriller in Manila, and, I even kind of remember the first Ali Frazier fight. I do remember my mother and her girlfriends who just thought Muhammad Ali was the best looking guy in the world. And he was. Um, when he hit the ground, they just gasped. So I remember him being knocked down. I was a little dude, but I remember that. But I also remember at the end of the fight, my father saying, he'll be back. And he was back. Won a championship 3 times. And fighting against Foreman, fighting against Frazier, fighting against Norton, where he got his jaw broke. I could sit here all day and talk about what he's done, but that's not the purpose of this show. The purpose of this show is to show why he's the GOAT, his impact. During the time when I met him when I was 9 years old, The Greatest had just came out. So I got to meet a lot of people as a kid. I jumped the fence and just went down there. My mother was like, "No, don't go down there." My dad's like, "He'll be fine," because I was like, "I gotta meet Muhammad Ali." Dad's like, "Go ahead. You want to go down there? Go ahead." I went down there, and that day, it was a celebrity track meet, and I met Jane Kennedy. I got her autograph. I met Chip McAllister, who played Muhammad Ali in The Greatest. I met George Benson. I met so many people. I knew who they were, but I really didn't care who they were. I got their autographs just because I wanted the champ. And I even met that day at the track meet a man who had a crocheted beanie on his head with a beard, who I saw at my house every day. Not in a human form, but on the cover of an album that my father used to play every weekend, with an album title called What's Going On. That would be the great Marvin Gaye. Not only did I meet Marvin Gaye, I took a picture with Marvin Gaye. But I don't have it because I didn't take a picture with him by myself. It was with some family. He saw me and he said, "Come here, kid," and put his arm around me and took a picture and signed my program. And I was like, "Oh, that's Marvin Gaye." I knew who he was, but I wouldn't have met Marvin Gaye if I wasn't trying to meet the champ. So I'm very fortunate that I've had personal interactions with a lot of people who are no longer here and who have transcended what they do. And by the way, I consider Marvin Gaye's 1971 release of What's Going On the best album of all time, or the greatest album of all time, but that's another talk show. I had to think about this. Ali was born in the year 1942, and that is the year my father was born. And I call 1942 probably the best year or the greatest year ever in the form of entertainment, because so many people were born in 1942. Here's just a short list of that year. Muhammad Ali is 9 months older than my dad. So I call them the 1942 boys, which would include Jimi Hendrix, Aretha Franklin, Isaac Hayes. Shout out to my cousins, Melanie and Nikki and Veronica Hayes, and also Emily Hayes. I always say, talk about the 1942 boys. Curtis Mayfield, Paul McCartney, your Vice President Joe Biden, Huey P. Newton, Harrison Ford, Barbara Streisand, just to name a few. That year was an amazing year for people being born. This year has been a hard year, man, for people leaving. But like my father always says, you live long enough, people are going to pass away. A lot of my personal favorite influential people have left this year. I buried my own mother in January. Prince just left us about a month and a half ago or so. Ali's just left. So I choose to just think about what they left us with and how can we continue to live their legacy the way they lived it. You're not going to be able to live up to Ali. It's just some people that you just have to understand. That slope is way too steep to climb. But that doesn't mean you can't try to climb it yourself or create your own slope. The man cared about other people. So if you want to be Muhammad Ali-like, care about other people besides yourself. Miriam May Ali, oldest child of Muhammad Ali, is a good friend of mine. We've been friends for about 14 years. We actually met at the BET Awards in 2002, and we've been friends ever since. Mizzle, you know how I feel about you, and you know how I feel about Pops. And I know how private you are as a person. So I'm not going to say too much. You've told me things and given me information and conversations about things, and you've answered questions regarding Pops. So I have a lot of knowledge, and I feel really good about what you've shared with me. So I just wanted to say to you and the rest of the Ali family, my sincerest condolences, and I will respect your privacy because I know how you are. And when you're ready to talk to me, you got my number. Just everybody who's listening, all I can say, if you want to honor Muhammad Ali, you can put the avatars up and, you can make it about you and, look at what I have to say about him and look at what picture I posted. The first thing that I would suggest is that you do something for somebody else. If you really want to honor Muhammad Ali, go out and do something for someone else. That's what you do. Then you'll be like Ali and not just a person who's trying to be seen or get credit for what somebody else has done. Game on. Game on.